Welcome on in to Fantasy Football Forge. How we doing? How's the sound? How are you? If you're here in the future watching this on VOD, then fast forward till you see the draft starting. I will go through some news. As always, we'll wait for some people to arrive. Hopefully, we got one in here already, so that's good. And if you are watching this also and you're wondering where the heck was I last Thursday, my bad. Something came up and I got distracted and I missed out on these. All right, news items. There's some stuff going on. I literally titled my little news sheet stuff. A lot of San Francisco related items, I should say. I'm just getting my screen reset up here. All right. Don't need this anymore. They did a lot of readjusting of my rankings lately. So check those out, especially if you are one of those who felt I was too low on CeeDee Lamb. The Dak Prescott positive news has hit me. I'm ready for CD. There's still some concerns with it, but also the potential is nice. What is up, CC? How are you? Are you going to be joining us tonight? All right, so we'll start off with the trio of primary receivers there in San Francisco. Well, the ones that will be there. For Ricky Pearsall, he is likely, the report today, I think it was today, is that he was likely to come off of the PUP list within the first few days of the 49ers training camp. So that is good news for him. That is somebody who could end up becoming fantasy relevant. I mean, technically could become very fantasy relevant. So, he has an opportunity, and the fact that he's going to be hopefully back in training camp relatively early, of all the people, that's somebody that you want to see in training camp. So good news on that front. Brandon Ayuk, no concrete timeline on his return to the NFL, to playing, to practice. We'll see. The timeline that on average is that he should miss some time for the season. So this kind of news leans into that. So obviously not bad news, but not good news on Brandon Ayuk's timeline. And then Juwan Jennings, he had said he was going to hold in. It appears to be a true hold-in type of situation. So that is 2 thumbs up on the Juwan Jennings front. And, he could be another good fantasy year for him. Then, as I alluded to, the Dak Prescott news has been positive. He is supposed to be... is he the one that's not full go? But he's supposed to be there for training camp and everything. And so just in general, Cowboys, that's some good news. I have Dak Prescott / Cowboys. I'm trying to remember why I have / Cowboys in my note. But, and CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, just more positive on the CeeDee Lamb news or on the CeeDee Lamb front than if we're going to get Dak Prescott. Some of the reasons for that, I do know what it is. Looked at some of so I adjusted Dak Prescott in my rankings and CeeDee Lamb, and I think I ended up staying the same on what's his face. I had it and then I lost it. The other wide receiver of any kind of note there in Dallas, and looked at the over-unders for passing yards and passing touchdowns. Passing yards, Dak Prescott, I believe, had the third highest betting odds for like most yards or something like that, plus 1,000, something like that. And then top 6, 7 for most touchdowns. And part of that is, people aren't expecting this Cowboys defense to be great. I do have concerns with the head coach and what that offense will look like just in terms of creativity. Either way, it's Dak Prescott, it's CeeDee Lamb. A lot of opportunity there, especially if they are playing from behind in games. And generally speaking, it looks like Vegas is pretty high up on that potential. So where you can get him in drafts, a great deal. And I did push him up. I think I'm a little bit higher than ADP on him. Robbie, what is up? How are you? Nice to see you. Metro, what is up? Welcome in, folks. I do have the link there in Chit Chat, so get on in here. We got 2 in there, plus me. We got 3 going so far. Metro, you can. The link's up there. Just going through the news quick that's been happening. Stephon Diggs, speaking of news here, good news on his front, not starting on the PUP list. I'm still not crazy about him, but I think I pushed him up my rankings a little bit, like when this news originally came out last week, late last week. I am the Crab Cats. He distracted me, Crab Cats. So the news on Stephon Diggs is that he will be full go to start training camp. I mean, that's great news. He's still a 32-year-old player, I believe, coming off of an ACL, and I still think that they're going to want to use him as their X, which, you know, in terms of target numbers, isn't the best. I mean, Drake May, you know, that's a nice connection in terms of just his arm and the fact that he likes to attack down the field. But overall, I'm still pretty cautious about it. But I do think that this gives you more comfort drafting Drake May. You know, there's just no doubt about it. Even if it's a 70% Stephon Diggs or something like that, his veteran presence and everything should help Drake May. Just got it at the 10. The tenor. Guys, let me know in chat. Anybody have any requests in terms of 10 team, full PPR, half PPR, standard, other types of scoring formats that you want to test out, and I'll set the rules up shortly. Chris Godwin, something I've been talking about all off season. I haven't changed the rankings on him yet because I feel like this was baked into my expectations for him. He's missing camp early on. So we'll see how that all comes along. I think you have to anticipate there's a pretty decent chance that he misses a couple of games at least early on in the season. We'll see. Coming back from injury and everything. It's so tough to put him too low in your rankings, but he's definitely somebody who I'm not like too excited to be drafting either. Kind of one of those weird ones. Noah Fant was released by Seattle. That I think that's a sign that they like what they're seeing from Elijah Arroyo in the early goings. So Elijah Arroyo is the guy who would be fantasy relevant if there's a fantasy relevant tight end to come out there. I'm not like the biggest Elijah Arroyo fan, rookie that came out of the draft this year, but he does have a skill set that lends itself to fantasy value, if nothing else. I'd like to do 10 league, but it doesn't really matter. I will probably draft bad. That's what these practices are for, though, Robbie, to kind of figure it out so that way once you get to the real draft, then you're okay. I haven't done a whole lot of drafts myself either. Also, anyone know? I have no clue what's up with the XP thing and the rankings. I still don't understand it. I suck at drawing. Or what is it? I sad. What up? I love to see you guys familiar with each other when you hop in chat. All right, Bengals defense still Trey Hendrickson. Looks like there's still a whole chasm between an agreement between them and him and the Cincinnati Bengals, and then their first round pick Shamar Stewart also has that hiccup. I think something will come together there, but like he, you know, is going to be probably missing some training camp, and if he's one of those guys where, like, there is going to be, he needs to learn. Like, I don't even think year one, necessarily, Shamar Stewart will be a big impact player, but if there's a chance of it, he's going to need the offseason. So, all in all, not great signs for this Bengals defense to be a whole lot better than last year. I assume they will be. They were so horrible last year, and new scheme and everything. It's hard to imagine them being that bad, even if they didn't have Trey Hendrickson and everything. But at the same time, good things for that offense, receivers, especially, and of course Joe Burrow. Colson Loveland, he's had some off-season injury stuff that's been known about. It said that he's going to be ready to go for camp, so that's good. I have not seen the new Steelers unis myself. I almost said universities. Look like a failed experiment for new Purdue uniforms. So they're like a off black, dark purpley blue thing going on. I'll have to check those out. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't get to see those things. Anthony Richardson is expected to be available to start camp. So, fantasy-wise, it's still kind of a toss-up. That really doesn't give us any answers, and I just don't know that you draft them a little bit differently. The receivers get more value if it's not Anthony Richardson playing. Probably, we assume that the passing attack there will be more opportunities there if it is New York Giants ex-quarterback, that guy. I just had his name too. I'm just off. But Anthony Richardson, that's just good in general, obviously, in terms of like the team wants him to succeed. They invested in him heavily. So there's that. And if you are an Anthony Richardson believer, there's that. A better chance of him winning the camp battle. And then James Cook is expected to be there at the start of the camp, but a lot of off-season stuff with him. I don't think it's all great news around James Cook, but that's good news. So I'm still not going to shy too far away from James Cook. What's going on in that picture there, Pitt season? See a little smoke coming out of the mouth in that picture. I like onions cut with a dull knife. Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be, like, there's no reason to get him in any kind of normal-sized league, I would say, unless you're just a big-time believer and grab him late. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us in here, so that's awesome. We did want to go 10 teams, so Metro, I think you're going to have to, I think you're the one who requested 10 team, so let's go. I'm going to go down to half PPR, unless I miss any kind of specific requests. The B uniforms. Green Bay Packers have some old classics that are kind of like B-esque. Like their bowling ball. I think they called them the bowling ball, or people would call them the bowling ball uniforms. Blue with a big yellow dot. I think they're from the 30s. All right, so 10 team, half PPR I'm going to do there. We get 2 minutes. All players, yes. And then roster, we can get rid of... Did it save my roster from last time? No kicker? Yeah, there we go. 6 bench spots, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back flex. Any major requests in chat to change those rules? Metro did all... Okay, no. Metro, you're going to have to get back in here. Crashes my stream for ads? I have it up on my computer and it didn't crash it there or anything. We'll let Metro get back on in here. Okay, there you are. So then I haven't drafted early. Let's There's no even way to do this. Let's populate the early portion of the draft. All right. Let's go. 6 of us in here. That's awesome. We're going to start the draft. And so get ready there. Pitt season. 9-1. Jamar Chase on deck. That's nice. It gives the first player like an extra second or two. All right. Half PPR, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, tight end, 10 team. Bijan with the first pick. Leaving me Jamar. Yeah, I have a tough time even in half PPR. I'm okay not grabbing Saquon. And I'm not thinking Jahmyr Gibbs here. And then Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, still going to take Jamar over that. Yeah, there's just tough not to take Jamar. 1, I think. But it's tough not to take Jamar if he gets to you anywhere in the draft. Saquon going third. And the only reason I say that about Saquon is just like, he was used a lot last year. There's a sample size of players that had that much usage, and their next year, I think I heard the stat today, I think it was today, maybe the fantasy footballers, like 20% of the time, or I think it was CBS guys, 20% of the time that player actually played the rest of the season without injury and or had a similar workload or something like that. You know, the odds are against it. I still have him as my RB1. You know, I'll take him for as long as I can get him. But there is just some little extra concern there for Barkley coming off of last year's usage. So then we see Jefferson, Gibbs going in at 5 ahead of. There any surprise? No, not really there. Lamb 3rd, Monra 4th. Nice there. I suck at drawing. Going with the safe pick. Malik Neighbors, Puka Nakua, and at pick 10 around the turn, Crabcats getting 2 picks. Looking at the board, Nico, Brian Thomas, Derrick Henry, Achane, McCaffrey is one that I would do. Yeah, so you still get those. You can double up at those wide receivers and still get 2 of those like top 10 wide receivers, or you can take the risk on Christian McCaffrey and get one of them. Or Achane like you did, which is you got kind of like potentially the safer Christian McCaffrey. Maybe he's been injured too. Exactly, Saquon. Like I said, I still have him ranked as my number 1 running back. It's just, you know, if I don't have to take him, if there is an excuse to take somebody else, I'll go with that, like a Jamar Chase, for instance, or if I believe in one of the other running backs more. But yeah, he's a good pick. Achane and struggling with it. Who would it be? Nico. The safe peak. Then Bowers going early. See, I think he's probably going to end up being a little bit of a disappointment where he's going, just because I do think those targets will be spread out a little bit more this year for Bowers. I still have him obviously ranked very well, but I have a little bit more trust in Trey McBride. All right, Brian Thomas Jr. then going off the board there. Henry, London, McCaffrey getting in the 2nd round. The Gibbs McCaffrey double up. That's got to feel good. Jefferson Brown, I think that would feel good. Saquon Genti, that's going to feel good. Yeah, 10 league, you feel pretty good about these Puka Bowers. Full PPR, man, that beast. All right, Jamar Chase, and man, I feel like the board just got worse. All right, so you know, Jacobs, Taylor, Kyron feel like the safe picks. Brown feels like the upside pick. Bucky feels like the risky pick that you want to take. Ladd, I like a lot. I definitely might just double up with that. But I pick in just 2 picks. So T. Higgins would still be very happy with. Yeah, I feel like there's more similarity in the running back room than that, or I could go tight end. But I prefer to wait on that. So I will go Ladd here and see what happens here around the turn. I should know that you're not going to go 2 running backs here with you taking Bijan right off the bat, too. So Tyreek, Bijan. Where do we go? So right now would be our chance here to get probably our only chance to get one of those top 3 quarterbacks if we want them, but we probably still can get a Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow, hopefully, for us down here. Back around the 4th, 5th turn. Barely. 10, 20, 30, 40. Yeah, like just barely. Maybe. So you do go quarterback there. So then, does that leave? Do I want to just flex like T. Higgins, JSN? Always tempting. But I think I'll get a running back. Oh, How are my rankings on this one? Yeah, Josh Jacobs is who I would take. And that's where my rankings: Josh Jacobs, Chase, Kyron, JT, Bucky, in that order. Almost the opposite. Um, he's good. It's a good team. Should be good. Yeah. Yeah, that feels better once I see it with Jamar Chase, Ladd, Jacobs. All right. So, Barkley, Genty, JSN going after that. I'll tell you what I dislike and like about JSN. With Clint Kubiak coming in town, and with the addition of Cooper Kupp, I feel like Cooper Kupp might kind of be the Chris Olave, which wasn't as good fantasy wise as the Rashid Shaheed. And I feel like JSN might be the Rashid Shaheed. But JSN, of course, isn't exactly Rashid Shaheed. And so he should still get more targets than like a Rashid Shaheed would. And probably won't quite work, he's not going to work as deep of routes as Rashid Shaheed. But I feel like that's how he's going to end up implementing them. We'll see how flexible he is, how good he is at, getting out of his mold, if he has a mold. My reason for concern with him having a mold a little bit is that once Rashid Shaheed went down, they went out and they traded for MVS, who's just kind of like a different Rashid Shaheed. So then, Josh Allen went after that. Garrett Wilson, Irving, JT, Kyron, Mike, Daniels. It's a very even team being built there, and getting the tight end. All right. Achane, Nico, Daniels, McBride. That'll be fun to watch how that team comes together with your other spots. Then we got Chase Brown going off the board right behind that. Breece Hall. So the running backs starting to come to question marks. We'll see if they make it back all the way to me or not. T. Higgins goes there. Wide receivers. Still some good names that should work out just fine. I'm getting T. Higgins there. Middle of the 4th round. All right, what do we got left for quarterbacks? Both Burrow and Hurts around, and you went with Lamar Jackson, so I don't need to worry about that. The question will be, do I want to pass up on this group of wide receivers or take a quarterback? Tight ends are gone for the ones that matter. Yeah, I think I can wait on the wide receiver. So then, oof. I think this is Ken Walker. What do my rankings say? I think I have Alvin Kamara ahead of Ken Walker. So, I'll trust my rankings. I'll go Kamara. Flowers around the turn. You got the Flowers Lamar stack. Not a necessary stack, but should be fine. Tyreek, Bijan. Gonna be kind of like a boomer bust roster, maybe a little bit. Is there a way to lower it smaller this? Is this gonna, make it all the big? All right, so Pitt's around a Pitt's believer among us. So, quarterbacks, I think Joe Burrow is probably the pick here. I think in wide receiver land, I'm going to be falling back a tier in wide receivers. But I can get one of the top quarterbacks. Yeah, it's that time. We'll take Joe Burrow then. Oh, and that's a Jamar Chase Burrow stack. That's nice. That's probably why that ADP lines up so nicely right here with Jamar Chase. Metro with Kyle Pitts, pick of faith. I mean, there's still a chance. Like, he had that injury, which clearly impacted him and everything. So maybe year two, I believe, after that, he comes back. Year four, year five, tight end. It, you know, historically, it does take tight ends several years normally to break out. So I still like hold out. I mean, he wasn't ever like my guy, so I'm not gonna say hope, but I still hold out some expectation of possibility for Kyle Pitts to break out. I tried putting some faith in it last year. That bit me in the butt. Ken Walker going right behind that. So that's pretty nice for you, Metro, to get that there. A little faith in McLaurin getting things figured out in Washington there. DJ Moore, Adams, Rice going. Rice probably going to miss some time, so I think that's why you might be seeing him fall a little bit further in drafts. I definitely took a tumble in my rankings because of the expectation of him missing some time. You combine that with like some yellow flags there that could potentially prevent him from having, a season that would have validated a higher ADP where he had been going for some time this offseason. Then the last quarterback of those top five, Hurts, going all the way there to team 7 there in the 5th. That's nice. So you get that tight end. See, that's really nice. You get at the back end of the top 3 tight ends and the back end of the top 5 quarterbacks there. I suck at drawing. I like that. Got a nice, safe, solid wide receiver 1. Not a history of getting injured or anything. And then just 2 stalwart running backs. So really good floor with advantages at your quarterback and tight end position that you were able to get later than everybody else. So that's, that's a good value build going on there. Crabcats got Chuba, DK. Ooh, what an interesting combo. That's such a roster that, could go in so many different ways so far with the starting, players there outside of a flex so far. Sutton, then after that, Smith, P. Holmes. What's the board looking like here? So, still obviously solid running backs. My boy Chris Olave coming up. Oh boy. Saquon, Genty is a powerhouse duo, ain't it though? Should be. Any running back on a Pete Carroll offense, especially when it's Ash and Genty, should look pretty good. So, Travion Henderson there. All right. Connor, yeah, we're at that point in the running backs, aren't we? So I don't think I need a tight end. Sam Laporta's falling. I do have him in his own tier. So value-wise, that could make sense. I know I don't have to draft him here, assuming if I want him. Pickens, Jameson, offer some good value there. Jacobs, Kamara, Ladd, Chase. I think I'll take the future Kamara. And RJ Harvey here. Yeah, I'll go Harvey. Yeah, so my only concern with Metcalf is that Aaron Rodgers likes his wide receivers to be where they're supposed to be. Is he going to get fed up with DK Metcalf and stop targeting him to some extent? I mean, he's not afraid to just not target receivers. Sometimes he was really good early on in his career about getting the guy the ball again when they screwed up. But then at some point, pretty later on in his career, he would just get frustrated and not target guys when they screwed up anymore. So that's my only concern. I mean, Metcalf's a veteran, so I think there will be a little bit more respect from Aaron to get him the ball. So the question is, do I go with Sam Laporta here, or is Olave, Williams? I think I'll take the chance on Sam. Let's see that. And I took Olave every time last time, so we'll let that go. Genty goes at the turn in my Yahoo mocks. Yeah, that's what's nice about getting, also some practice with different things, because you just never know what's going to happen in your real draft. Yeah, I feel like Genty might have lasted a little while there. Longer. Does it have his ADP? No, I don't want to change it. Does it? Show player card. What's his ADP? On here. Why would you put that on his player card? Why would we want his ADP anywhere to be seen? Nope. Look at his their projections are pretty blank right now. They're not too detailed. Almost the same every week except for week 1. All right, so after that we got McMillan, Montgomery, Ridley. Ooh, going for that upside to go with Wilson, Harrison, Adams, Ridley. That's going to be a headache, I feel like, in terms of, for one reason or another, basically. It could be a good headache. Good headaches are still a headache, though. I had plenty of them, where I've got 4 wide receivers every week who are all ranked in like the top 20, all of them like 15 to 20th almost every week. And it's like, oh no. Never get the right one. Or I should say, like, every time the one that you sit is the one that goes, like, it's the second highest scoring of the bunch. Shucks. All right. Williams ongoing. So that means there's still... No. Did he go? George Pickens. Okay, you took George Pickens and Mooney. That's early for Mooney, right? Got to be an Atlanta fan. Putting Pitts and Mooney there together. So, hero running back over here. All right. And they picked Williams because I didn't want Olave. But, yeah. Makes enough sense. I assume the rookie will be the New Orleans quarterback. Drafted him in the 2nd round. They got like a previous 3rd round in Spencer Rattler draft pick just a year earlier who didn't really impress. So, yeah, I would assume the rookie will be. I mean, he's pretty good. He's old. Like, he has a Bo Nix-esque quality in him in terms of the fact that he's, like, fairly seasoned coming into the NFL. So he could hit the ground walking, Pitts, Mooney, and Bijan. Definitely in Atlanta. But I think Pitts season? Oh, yeah, Kyle Pitts. Yeah, Atlanta. I was thinking Pittsburgh, but yes, Atlanta. So I do like Darnell Mooney. I don't think you have to take him that early, but I do like him. Who's left in that Atlanta? Weren't able to get Jane Daniels. Okay, maybe a backup quarterback in Atlanta. The hero RB. We'll see how this turns out. There's some good running backs you can get late in this draft. I just did prep for a video. Yeah, I think tomorrow I'll have a video coming out about 0 RB targets. Did a little analysis on that. Probably like late morning time I'll release it. is, I think, my goal. I believe I have it ready to go. Just not uploaded yet. So, around the turn, then Godwin, Addison to go with Metcalf, Nico. So you're going to have to wait a little bit on Godwin, but you got Addison as well. All right. Pacheco, Olave goes there. Aaron Jones to join Henry and Taylor. Nice. Kelsey Ingram, Pollard. Let's see, are there quarterbacks you need to grab now? Probably not. You could probably wait on quarterback, huh? Yeah, I probably would have continued to go with positions as well there, Metro. So I've got positions dealt with early here. I haven't taken a wide receiver in a minute. Travis Hunter has been good news in terms of his wide receiver usage comparative to both. So that's a nice upside play. Do I want upside play with only 2 wide receivers yet compared to... I mean, Khalil Shakir's got a good floor. But I could probably get him next. No Ayuk. No. I think I... Juwan Jennings all the way down here? What's that about? You know what? I think I have Juwan Jennings ranked higher in my rankings. I'm just going to go with Juwan Jennings. That's not what I wanted to do. Just keep it a little bit interesting there in terms of potentially letting an extra piece of talent hang around. But I don't think you need wide receivers there. And running backs, Swift. You should go Swift. Or, well, I think you should go Brian Robinson. Or Swift. Personally. Good news on Javonte. The news out of Dallas on Jaden Blue. Not positive. Now, it could be one of those things where they're trying to light a fire under his butt. Either way, you don't like the fact that they have to light a fire under his butt. He apparently, not working hard enough. They're not happy with his work effort, which isn't promising for a guy who's got a really good opportunity. Lavi's like Tua. You know he can produce decently, but he's always hurt. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Pitts, still got another pick. Well, I shouldn't say anything. I took this long for my second pick. Jonnu Smith. Ex-Atlanta player, Jonnu Smith. You couldn't help yourself. The number 2 tight end in Pittsburgh? I don't know. Especially with Hero RB there. I'd have gone running back. Do I have Brian Ramos, DeAndre Swift? Let's check out the rankings. Let's check them out. Where the heck are you guys? Brian Robinson, 22nd. DeAndre Swift, 24th. I thought so. I will continue to go with my board. We'll have B-Rob in here. That will help secure any early season woes between Kamara and Harvey if something happens there. Trust Jacobs. Although Jacobs is always like limping or something, but he still usually plays. Swift going right behind that. You have enough running backs there, don't you? Holy cow. Yeah, you're good with... You will... I like rosters. I'm just saying you will never have to touch the waiver wire or get another running back in this little drafty draft. Then Hunter finally going. Caleb Johnson, Tyrone Tracy, Roma Dunze, who I just don't know. I don't know what to make of Rome because there's just the quarterback questions. You know, last year's performance, I thought he was very solidly the third wide receiver, a top 10 wide receiver in terms of, you know, a top 10 pick, I should say, in the NFL draft type of guy. And he did go there. I just don't know what to make of that. And it's like Chicago does have a decent defense, right? So it should be decent. So it's not like, okay, well, they're going to be passing all the time, but then how much are they going to rely on their running back group? I don't know. Quinshawn going with teammate. Okay, excused there. Shakir and Crabcats. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Running back, probably. For one of them, at least. So, Najee, yeah, currently on the pup. Not helping his case. Ramondre, the starting running back for the New England Patriots, still out there. Starting running back for Jacksonville, still out there. Where is Ken Walker? See, what I would have probably done here. Any quarterback? Yeah, like Goff. Still didn't need to go wide quarterback. I mean, Mark Andrews in the 9th round. I probably would have gone like Mark Andrews and then just. And you obviously don't have to. And then Charbonnet in the 10th to back Walker up. And then you're still solid. But Swift was available. Showed a double quarterback there with Goff and Daniels. Running backs are cool. They give you a nice, comfortable floor. They usually do get injured, and you need others to be available when they get injured. So having a couple extra never hurts. ETN around the turn. Ayuk going to the computer. Yeah, see, that's what sucks with these ADPs is I'm pretty sure the computers in these mocks, you know, contribute toward these ADPs. So players who are falling take longer to fall because the computers continue to pick them. Herbert back with Hurts. Yeah, so for Jane Daniels, I like that, backing him up, because he is a little bit flimsy, and obviously he runs and everything, so there is that injury risk with him. Hurts has decided to protect himself, so he doesn't, you know, he just slides. He doesn't really take too many hits anymore. And then Herbert, I think, will have a good year. Yeah, I think Herbert is going to be good. And I do think that there is a chance that you'll be starting Herbert over Hurts, just like at least depending on matchups. Like it won't be a clear cut, you know, start Hurts every week situation. And then the Kyler Murray goes. Do I want another quarterback? Who do I have? Joe Burrow. He has a history of injury, don't he? I can wait a little bit there. Wow, the wide receivers really stalled, huh? I think I'll take a gamble. Yeah, I definitely need like 2 more wide receivers, at least. On Golden, Mecca, Higgins. I think I have Higgins higher up in that bunch. Trey Harris, I have the highest. I don't have. Yeah, that won't matter. I get Trey. Trey. My boy from Ole Miss. Except Diggs. Are you a Diggs believer? There goes Diggs. Cup and Diggs. Filled up. Boy. No running backs. Bold. Javonte Williams don't even have that locked up. I definitely don't need a second tight end. All right, I guess I'll take the starting running back of the New England Patriots. Or do I want more upside? Does the starting running back of the New York Giants have more upside? Maybe. Or does Rashad White? Charbonnet in case of injury? Man, lots of options there. Um, I'll add another floor play, or do I just want another upside play? I've got a pretty safe starting group of receivers. Matt Golden, Jaden Higgins. We'll go with Higgins. Warren. I'm going to put your faith in Warren. Are you going to... What's his ADP compared to Njoku? Kincaid. Yeah, see, this is why I just like to wait. I mean, if I had to take Njoku because somebody took Kincaid without me being able to, I would... Oh, Dak Prescott. You jerk. I was going to take Dak here. Thought he'd make it. Steven Jackson, if you do another draft, I'll hop in. Sucks drafting against bots. Yeah, we'll do another one. We'll set that up right away. Should we do a 12-teamer then? Let's do a 12-team full PPR. Let me know. If nobody needs full PPR, I mean, let me know if you want full PPR, I guess. Otherwise, I'll just keep it at half PPR. I mean, it doesn't, like, make a huge difference for these. But, yeah, Steven, we'll do one more after this, and then we'll call it. I just like to keep these like within an hour and a half at least, so that way I think it's a little more likely that people will watch them once they're up there. But Q coming in too. Are we gonna have like 8 of us? Are we gonna have a almost full house here tonight? Full PBR. We'll do full PBR then. Can we set one without bots? I think the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you 6 stay, and if Q and Steven Jackson were to join, that'd be 8. I mean, we could do an 8. It's not like the worst thing in the world in terms of practicing, because then at least it's just humans taking the players that they want. Okay, second drawing's gonna leave. So I think we'll just keep it at 10 teams, so that way we're keeping the bot count down. Mr. Magic. He got the magic touch. I mean, it changes some individual decisions along the way and stuff, but we're all thinking in our heads like how we normally would draft here. I feel like when you're doing these. There goes Golden and Pearsall and Reed, Sharps. Yeah, see, this is like, I feel like the middle portion of the draft sucks because there's just like guys that you are taking chances on that you're not sure about. Once you get to like the DJ Moores, like guys who are gonna quite potentially disappoint you. Jalen Waddle, not to pick on Team 4 there. Even the DK Metcalfs, the Chris Godwins, the Worthies, Ridley, McMillan, Pickens. You just don't know if they're going to succeed or not. But then I feel like once you get into later rounds, it's like, all right, it's nice again. At least for other positions. Maybe the wide receiver the wide receiver kind of falls off this year. That's why I like just taking these upside shots once we get to a certain point. Jake Ferguson, stock up. Dak's back. Yes, he's back. So, my wide receivers got picked a little bit. But, I mean, Justin Fields on the way back here. He's like... I think I have him as a QB1. Drake May, Justin Fields. Yeah, I have Justin Fields higher. The quarterbacks, there's just enough depth with generally this year. I know this is 10 teams, so that has helped to make this a little bit more true. But I don't need to take that yet. Do I need a running back or a wide receiver? Probably running back. Rashad White still available. Dobbins still available. Eckler still available. I think I have Eckler higher than Rashad White. Maybe. Jordan Mason still available. Benson. Dylan Sampson. That's an upside shot at running back. You know what? At this point in the offseason, I'll take that. I don't know about in a month from now. The read on the situation will be more clear, and maybe that won't be the case. But right now, let's do it. Caleb to pair up with Lamar. You a Caleb believer, my brother? I am. Fantasy-wise, this point in the draft is fine, but I'm surprised at how high up he's ranked, or ADP. All right, so real quick check on my roster. So Fields, Burrow, Laporta on the edges of the roster. I like that enough. Jamar, Love, along with McConkey, Jacobs, Kamara. Maybe I made a mistake, and if I made a mistake, did I recover from it? I think Brian Robinson really helps make me feel better about that later in the draft. And then Harvey, hopefully good upside, and a shot on Sampson. A couple outside swings there. Juwan Jennings to help secure things. Yeah, so I think a roster that will grow throughout the season, and hopefully I can get a couple of big games in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and Kamara can perform as well, though, from Burrow and Laporta. And if I can do that, I think my flex will become more powerful as the season goes along. But, I mean, geez, Brian Robinson can be my flex week 1. That should be fine. This was half PPR. All right, so I think I commented on this squad enough about my concerns. Jordan Mason to finish that up. So, he might be better than Javonte week 1 even. There's a chance. He won't get... Doesn't look like he's going to have more opportunity than that. And it does look like Javonte's probably going to be the starter. A little thin at running back for me. Jonnu Smith, don't love that. Early on, Darnell Mooney. Metro, obviously, real strong start there. There's obviously some questions with McLaurin, but if he can work out for you, there's zero question about your running back room. Yeah, so, Jack Bash late. I love that. See, I think Jack Bash could end up being your wide receiver 3. But yeah, I mean, Judy gives you at least some sort of floor. McMillan, probably the same there, so that at least helps out. McCarthy and Murray. All right. Warren. I don't think Warren will be a difference maker, but I mean, that was just the roster that you built, and I have no problem with those types of rosters. Artie's nuts. So I expressed my concerns a little bit about that wide receiver room as well. And I mean, I say this, it's not like I don't have zero concerns about mine, but I did, compared to those two rosters, do start out with 2 wide receivers instead of 2 running backs. So Gibbs, McCaffrey, Henderson taking a shot, and then Williams, Scadaboo. Okay, all right. I see it. I see that vision there at running back. I like that. And then taking an upside swing on Ingram. It's not like there isn't upside potential there. Good job on the quarterback. Is that Tom Brady? I suck at drawing. Let's see. Amonra Smith Williams. So I think Williams probably ends up being... I would have not gone Phillip Rivers. I would have gone wide receiver there to end that up instead of a third quarterback. You guys having a little too much fun there with those quarterbacks. I love that they're... it's funny that they're still available. You got Kittle. See, I don't think you need 2 tight ends when you get a guy like Kittle. The 2 games that he might be injured, you just figure something else out. Running back, yeah, fine. I like to have 5 running backs if possible, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Crab Cats, Chan, Hubbard, how did you do about ETN? And then a big upside swing with Charbonnet. Okay. So your RB2 spot will be in flux, possibly, but also possibly very good. And you got some... if there's ever an injury, Charbonnet will be a very, very good start. Nico, Metcalf, Godwin, Addison. Might miss some time for Addison. Finish that off with Downs. Nice finish off. So yeah, I talked about this roster early. Like it's then you got the Daniels McBride advantage, and so yeah, I still feel the same. Like and then Kincaid, nice. It's one of those rosters where I don't know how that would, obviously we don't know any of these rosters how they'll end up, but it's an interesting one. I always struggle with early quarterback wide receiver rosters too, like how good they'll be. I had to rewatch the Is That Tom Brady? All right, delete draft. So I will send out the new link. New mock NFL draft. All right. And we get that link. We put that in the description. Socket Drawing, you heading out, my brother? Thank you very much for joining. I think that was you that was going to be heading out. So appreciate you for coming on in. Have a good one. JJ all the way. Justin Jefferson. Where was the Justin Jefferson talk? Did I miss the Justin Jefferson talk? Gotta have Rivers. Just in case. Just in case. Yeah, he's not coaching or anything now. I got the link in chat. And I'll let you guys... I will turn this down to 10 teams, so don't bother with that. We'll go full PPR, 10 team. Get your butts in in here. And I don't think we need to fix the roster, but we'll double check that. All good there. Do you want a third wide receiver, a second flex in here as well? Just go one deeper. Let me know if you want that. I can add that on in here. Shut up, Carson. My friend's name is Carson. That makes me feel like telling him to shut up. "101. Disregard my name." Okay. I can do that. Third wide receiver? Let's do it. So full PPR, 3 wide receiver. You definitely don't want to get left in the dust early on, I would say, generally. At the wide receiver position, you don't want to fall too far behind with that, in my opinion. Oh. There we go. All right. Third wide receiver. I see. The name makes sense then. Did we lose that many people? Are we going to be down to 4? We can do, if you guys want, we can do a team if we're going to be down to 4 to just limit those computers. That obviously, makes judging the team harder, but it gives you some practice in terms of the actual picks that you're going to make. There we go. All right. I will hop in the 8 spot. All right, anybody else hopping on in? Oh, there we go. Trains need a Green Bay Packer fan. Hello. Lambeau Field. I am from Green Bay. Welcome on in. They call me. What? Look at this. Guys, we just might get a full room this year. We've already got more people drafting than we did by the end of last year's mock draft season. All right. Final call for Elko Hall. You know what? I'll join you on this end, Metro. We'll just get a string of us going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll give it like 10 seconds here, just in case. Oh, there we go. Yeah, if I'm taking up a spot that you guys ever want, yeah, I'm cool just moving on around. I'm mod, I get first dibs. Cheers. Love it. 10, 9, 8. I think we fell behind on the count. 7, probably 6, 5, 4. 3, 2, and let's get this going. Shut up, Carson. You are on the clock for the official 2025 mock draft on July 22nd. If I knew how to do emojis on here, I would. Oh, there it is. I don't know where to find beer. There's just a bunch of weird ones. People? No. Food? It is a food, kinda. Ah, there we go. That looks like beer to me. All right, we're starting off with Chase. Wow, Bijan gets some love tonight, going before Barkley in both of the drafts, number 1 and number 2. Is that the is that coming from people listening to fantasy football guys? I know 1 or 2 of them who are big ups on Bijan. CD going 4th. Trans need, what is the full name there? Why can't I see the full name? They do a good show. What's his name? Lost some weight, didn't he? Jason? He looks thinner. Alright, good for him. I noticed that this year. I was like, whoa. So after CD, we go Jefferson, Gibbs, Puka, Neighbors. Leaving me with Amon-Ra sounds nice. Derrick Henry, this is full PPR. Amon-Ra sounds better for that. The only competition for that, yeah, Neighbors went. I was gonna say is like Neighbors is the one I feel like you think about in full PPR. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get too crazy with it. Derrick Henry in full PPR, not gonna be taking over a wide receiver or Amon-Ra. All right. Nico and Genty. Yeah, you got Genty in both of them. I think I'll continue to probably go. Achane gets a lot of receptions. Christian McCaffrey's my boy. He gets a lot of receptions, especially with that running back wide receiver room potentially thinned out, starting slow. AJ Brown in full PPR is not as nice. I'll try going running back. I'll take the Christian McCaffrey risk there. Christian McCaffrey's my 3rd or 4th running back, even in half PPR. That definitely doesn't get worse in full PPR. He's really good, Ashton Genty. He's really good, and I think their offensive line's fine for run blocking. Actually, I know their running game sucked last year, but I don't think it was the offensive line. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it had to do with that guy that I really, really was high on last year. I can't even think of his name anymore. I wrote him off. What a disappointing running back choice by me last year to hang my hat on all offseason. Brian Thomas and Puka there for Team 7. Bowers. Achane with Jefferson. Deadly weekly opportunity. I am thinking of putting CD ahead of Jefferson in my rankings. I just think there's more passing volume. I think it's a worse defense, which helps to create more passing volume. And I think Dak Prescott you could trust more than J.J. McCarthy. And, the talent difference, obviously, I think Justin Jefferson might be the best wide receiver in the NFL. So, talent difference, there is one, but obviously CD is still very, very talented. So, I got close to doing that today when I moved CD up because it felt weird to be kind of low on him and then to all of a sudden move him up to number 2. But and I just think of those other factors. It's like, and then they both have, there's Addison, there's George Pickens. I'd say Pickens is probably better than Addison, but I don't know, it changes a whole lot. We'll say better coaching staff in Minnesota, though. Better offensive play calling than in Dallas. Trans need. You're on the clock. 30 seconds left if you forgot. Genty or Achane? Is that a which one do I have higher question? Because I might not know. Did our Green Bay Packers fan leave us? I have Genty ahead of Achane. I might end up changing that. I don't know. Very close. I'm trying to see if there's a way to turn you off of auto just in case, give you one more chance to come on back in. Dynasty is my life in the middle of a 12-team startup. No quarterbacks left. You got Purdy and Mayfield. Was offered Tua, a 26 first, a 27 first for Purdy and Burden. You have Purdy and Mayfield, which, I mean, I think Purdy's a little bit better long term, but is there a big difference there? A big drop off? 2 firsts. I'm not concerned about getting rid of Burden. Did I miss my turn? No, I'm back down here. Why did it say Bucks? I said Nico. Okay, understand is Nico was on track to have. Yeah, but they also did lose some of the wide receivers throughout the season. Like their wide receiver core is more filled out to start this year. So I do think that the targets got funneled to him a little bit. Dynasty, I'm still thinking on that one. Chase Brown makes it here. That's nice for full PPR. Breece Hall, James Cook, not bad either. My choice of quarterback, if I wanted to go that route, but full PPR, Higgins, Wilson, McLaurin. I think I'll definitely take. I think I have T as a different tier than the rest of those guys, so I will pass up. Yeah, because even if you would have gone running back there, I would have been okay with the other. I think you take it. Dynasty is my life. So I feel a little bit more comfortable with James Cook. I think I'll do that. A good quarterback, but I just the only one that's like, full PPR God is Rashee Rice out of that bunch, but I have to wait for him and hold him onto my roster, which is a little bit tough in the 4th round. Probably. I think he'll miss him at a time. Yeah, I'll just stay with James Cook then. You gotta get rid of Purdy. You get to keep Mayfield. You get Tua back, obviously, but you get 2 firsts. I mean, I think I would take it. You're probably going to be spending one of those firsts on a quarterback. Probably. I think would be the only thing to keep in mind. But that does give you an option, like the potential to end up getting into the Manning sweepstakes, right? So if it was like Tua, Manning, and a 2027 first for Purdy and Burden, I feel like you would take that, wouldn't you? I know it's not necessarily Manning, but and you need Tua for this year. Can't just go with one quarterback. I'll probably do it. Hey, Trans, you came back. You're on the clock, by the way, if you're not paying attention. I wonder how it determines. Is that like if your browser's open, if those little dots are going or not? Metro, leave the browser and come back. Is that how the dot gets determined? Yeah. By the way, I definitely not hating on Nico. I mean, hey, I was right on Nico. I was high on him. Is that 2 years ago now, or was that just last year? Might have been 2 years ago now. I think that was the rookie season for what's his name, before he had proven himself. I said that's a great opportunity. There's no other wide receiver on the roster. All right, Crabcats. What do you got? Jefferson, Nixon, Rice that you're cooking up with Achan. Just potentially a PPR machine there. See Lamb, Adams, Irving, Kittle. Bride goes there. Artie's nuts. Going with the quarterback. The quarterbacks are... No, there's still one or two left. Chuba. The Chuba fans are out tonight. I feel like that's They Call Me Randy? Not meant like that, by the way. There went Joe Burrow. No need to touch quarterback for a minute. All right. Man, it sure was nice when Quinshon Judkins was going a little bit late. I think I'll have to take the shot on DK Metcalf here. Yep. You're gaining XP, baby. I think it's just to encourage people. It's some stupid like point system to encourage people to chat. I don't know. Oh, there we go. You're fake. You're fake. Yeah, I don't know what it's all about. Flowers Smith going around the turn. Williams. J-Con? I got Aaron Jones pretty highly ranked, but I go to move him down and I just can't. But then I go to draft him and I also just can't. I think I'll stick with one more wide receiver here. See how that looks out. Full PPR. Tanner McMillan, just because of full PPR. Chris Olave because of full PPR. I'll do Chris Olave again. Because it's full PPR. I would have ignored him in half PPR and just gone a different route, but hopefully Brandon Cooks won't steal too many targets from him. Henry Williams Hall. Look at that trio. Pretty sexy. DJ Moore's another one. I just don't know. He's like, I have him ranked, normally, but I just never know with those Chicago receivers. I don't feel comfortable with them. I wish I did. Mayfield going off the board at 66. Fouled by Patrick. Harvey teaming up with Barkley for team 3. That you go, team. Well, it's just if I think that he's always available there, So I'm gonna take him or I'm not. This is around his ADP. I only took him a little early around according to ADP. It was 60 like second, 63. He was between, I think, Hunter and there. So, even less healthy than Olave's head. That's not funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. You know? He's in denial. No, I fully admit that I'm not low on Chris Olave, and that I am high on him in my rankings. So because I think that I would take him earlier technically once he's still available at or below ADP. You know, I'm gonna take him. It was just that the Jamison Williams. I'm not like a huge believer in Tedrow McMillan, Carolina, the quarterback there, any of that equation. The George Pickens, like those are guys who do things on fewer targets. So once again, like in a half PPR, 3 wide receivers, I would have just gone with one of them for purposes of not taking Olave every single time. But because we are doing full PPR, and there is that chance that Olave could get 12 targets a game, yeah, I'll take that. I mean that defense is not very good. There's not a whole lot of competition in that wide receiver room, I don't believe. You know, could Rashid Shaheed be fine? I believe he's coming back from injury himself. He is. And then could Brandon Cooks have a bit of a late career resurgence still? It's all possible. There's really no competition in the tight end room for targets. So, Travion Henderson looks pretty nice. Aaron Jones is still pretty nice. I have him probably ranked higher than Travion. I think I'll do that. Calvin Ridley, Khalil Shakir, nice full PPR guy. Yeah, I'll take Aaron here. It's a value on my board. That's another one. I'm higher on him, but, I'm just taking him at ADP. Travion going behind me. So I would say early on for trans need, my only concern with the roster would just be full PPR. Yeah, I like it. So I like it more half PPR than full PPR. After obviously CD Lamb love for full PPR. Kittle love for full PPR too. Nuts. I gotta go again. You went with Ridley. Yeah, have to be realistic about McCaffrey. He could get injured. Chicago running back. No. Full PPR? Maybe. Maybe it is Swift in full PPR. I'll go Swift for full PPR over B-Rob. Not the prettiest running back room. Well, you're practicing is what you're doing, Metro. And then you just see once the roster's built, was I comfortable with what I was able to get? Was I able to make up for not taking, not T. Higgins? Was I able to make up for not getting... I mean, I feel like with the wide receivers that slipped, like there was a tier break the pick right before you with T. Higgins. I guess my pick there with T. Higgins. That made wide receiver harder. And then, are you going to go 3 running back? You could, but, you can take that advantage at quarterback as well. So I feel like that wasn't really a bad decision. Crab Cats. Hawkinson there last time around. Where was I on these rosters? B-Rob, Kamara, Connor. Solid. A little old after Bijan Robinson. Taking a shot on Xavier Worthy. Hurts. Worthy concerns me, but I think early season with Rashee Rice probably missing some time. He can hold up while whatever other guys you might pick might have a chance of getting better. If you go with a rookie or two later on. Chase Brown, Jacobs, Hampton. See, I like this. Shut up, Carson. Daniels, McMillan, Pacheco. Nice. And McMillan has a chance, I'd say, even more so in full PPR, too, to, pay off at least for ADP. I like that team there. Number one. Strong roster. Myers, Addison, DJ Moore, Neighbors. Oh, boy. Not my favorite. I like that running back room. Metro. Trans need, you're on the clock. Just a heads up if you're paying attention. Chance Whitner, what's up? What do you think the odds are? St. Brown takes a step back and Jameson is more of the wide receiver 1B. I don't think they're high. Well, I think you mean St. Brown's the 1B to Jameson being the 1A. Is that what you mean, or are you still saying St. Brown being the 1A to Jameson's 1B? That would make like the odds better, I would say. Yeah, Robbie, I was strongly against that. It never worked. It never made sense. It never worked out. People were freaking out. That was the Patrick Mahomes when he was in his heyday. Finally, last year was like the first year where everybody finally got it. And last year, I think we were actually waiting. Well, we are here too. Third round. And it's a staunch, never drafting wide receiver there. St. Brown's still the 1A, but closer to, yeah. Well, I think that offense might take a step back as a whole. You got the offensive line's probably not going to be as good. You got a different offensive coordinator coming in, and the offensive coordinator leaving, one that a lot of people believed to be like one of the best in the NFL, if not, the best, but probably one of the best offensive coordinators. So I imagine the whole offense takes a step back, and that probably doesn't help. But if the offensive line is not so great, I would say that helps Monroe more than that helps Jameson because, less time. Monroe runs more friendly routes for less time to get the ball out. So in some senses, I think that helps out. But then you factor in, like, their defense got historically injured last year. I think they actually have a lot of talent on their defense. So if their defense does better, that should help their running game. And then that's another setback for the passing game. But then, offensive line again, running game. I think the odds of it being a 1A, 1B, I don't think they're great. I think they added, a third-round wide receiver in the draft who I really like. Felt like he was more of a day 3 guy than day 2. So we'll see on that. And I think that takes away some of that intermediate stuff from Jameson. Yeah, I'm not... I think Jameson just kind of is who he is. Mostly a deep threat, but like one of the better types of deep threats. George Pickens, in that bucket as a talent, probably. Maybe lower in that bucket. So Juwan Jennings is higher by a ways in full PPR than he was in half PPR. Interesting. And I'll probably take him here. Am I worried about anything going around the turn here? Oh, God. Get out of my face, Mark Andrews. I can't do it again. I don't see a reason not to. I'll go, Juwan. ETN, real quick. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think Deshaun Jackson was, I mean, he is like my favorite NFL player for some time. Well, I don't remember who exactly. He's very, very high up on one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. And that has something to do with Madden, too. No, I don't think he's as good as Deshaun Jackson. But I know what you're saying in that type. He's like more big bodied though. Like he's slender, but he's much taller than Deshaun Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. ETN, ooh, nice job there. Kind of want to stack Purdy, but I'll just let that be. I think my boy Scattaboo, Javante. I'll do it. I'll do it. Let's go, Cam. Bring you aboard here. Might not have needed another running back. Might not have needed another running back. We shall see. Yeah, I don't think he's consistent enough for top 15 wide receiver. Came back to pick and then realized every darn running back to ever grace a football field got picked ahead of me. There was Cam Scattaboo, Javante Williams, J.K. Dobbins. I'm talking about guys who have like potential, weekly, running back to flexish type stuff territory. Austin Eckler, full PPR especially. Why is he lower in full PPR than he was in half? Nick Chubb, full PPR probably not. Standard though. Nick Chubb, there's Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford, who one of them is going to be the starter for Cleveland. I know it's Cleveland, but still. So there's running backs. They're out there. There's Jarquez Hunter. Can I interest you in a Jarquez Hunter? Yeah, so as Chance Whitner said, Nick Chubb's still available, man. When Nick Chubb's still available, there's still a running back available. There goes a Purdy. I would have taken him Team 7. You didn't need to do that to me. Chance, are you with me? Do you think Nick Chubb has a chance to be like relevant and possibly even the RB1 in Houston? Because I do. Chubb is washed. I think it's too soon to say he's washed. I didn't expect him to do anything last year coming off that injury. It could have been better. I'll give you that. It could have been better. But it's Nick Chubb. He definitely might be. Don't get me wrong. I will take a tight end. You have not taken one yet either. Did you want Dalton Kincaid? Because you can't have him. Tyler Warren, that's what I thought, because I think you got him last time. I'm at the 105 in one of my redraft leagues. It's full PPR, so if Gibbs, JJ, or CD are available, who do you like the most? Full PPR? Well, I think I'm going to move CD ahead of JJ in half PPR. And so for full PPR, I would definitely go that route. And I think I would go JJ or CD over Gibbs. Higgins. Hey, there we go. I love the pick. You know that. I will grab Dak Prescott here, I believe. Do I have Herbert higher than Prescott? I think I do. I will grab Justin Herbert here. Where do I have Goff? I'm always a little bit low on Goff. Plenty of quarterbacks. I might feel comfortable just going with Justin Herbert, but is that too much risk? Should I go 2 quarterback or I grab one more wide receiver? Because I'm kind of thin at wide receiver. What is this? 12 team or 10 team, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 team, I think I'll probably go wide receiver. Unless a bunch of quarterbacks fly off and it gets super thin there. We get our picks at the end of the previous season. Ours just goes in reverse of your final standings. I like randomization because you don't always want the number 1 pick every year, even if you're, finished last season. They call me stacking up on the wide receivers like you should. Downs, Golden, Cup, Myers, Addison, Moore, Neighbors. You're going to find something within there. That's for sure. Stuck with the 3 running backs. Probably want a 4th running back, right? Still need a quarterback. And with Laporta, you don't need a backup tight end. Just put him in there every week. And figure out the tight end during the season if an injury happens and during the bye week. Wait, you took Kyler over Daniels? No. Oh, yeah. But I do think when you draft a guy like Jaden Daniels, I do think it's okay to back that up with a quarterback. He's one of them that I want to back up, which is why I do prefer to just get Joe Burrow has a bit of, Josh Allen, I guess, even over him. And Lamar Jackson has a pretty good track record for injury. I know, obviously, Jaden Daniels hasn't been injured in the NFL yet, but he's kind of slender. And Lamar Jackson has an excellent way of how he takes hits that I think maybe Jaden Daniels kind of tries to replicate, but it's not the same. My rankings of the first round. I don't have a complete player rankings yet, but out of here, I would just say I have A.J. Brown into this first round. I don't think I have Christian McCaffrey I would take into here. Gibbs would be on the borderline. So Chase, CD, Justin Jefferson, Barkley, Chase, CD, Justin Jefferson, Barkley, Bijan, McCaffrey. How do I have my wide receivers ranked there? A.J. Brown comes in pretty shortly after that. Puka Neighbors? Is that 12? 1, 2. I didn't say Nico or Amonra. Or Gibbs. So I think that was 11. And I would full PPR go Amonra over Gibbs. Half PPR I would go Nico over Amonra, and then Gibbs. And half PPR, I might slip in like before. That's tough. I think Gibbs makes it in the top 12 there. No. Uh, no. Not quite. Oh, I said I only needed. This was 10. Okay. So if I would have done 12, it would have been different. Let's see here. What happened to my wide receivers? Jack Bash, come on and join me late. Monroe gets more touchdowns than Nico. Yeah, and he probably will again. Once again, I would say I would expect Houston's offense as a whole to be better than they were last year, and not better than Detroit. And Detroit's offense to be worse than they were last year. Still better than Houston. But now Nico's also got other wide receivers who I think could challenge him for some of his targets. I think one was added in Detroit, but I think he's maybe more. He's a little bit of an in-betweener, honestly. It's just the intermediate stuff for him in terms of the targets that he'll probably get. So he steals a little bit from Monroe, a little bit from the other one. Oh, we have another round. Look at that. We aren't done. Who was that? I know who that is, but who is that? Brenton Strange. Herbert and Dak, give me then, since we got another round. That helped. In the salary league, leaning towards spending up on quarterback and wide receiver 1 and drafting like $20 guys for the rest with $5 tight ends. What's your thoughts? Yeah, I think this is a year where I don't think you ever need to spend up on quarterback. I mean, I think you can get some of the Dak Prescotts of the world probably for pretty cheap, pretty late in an auction draft. But if you want to, I have no problem with paying up for, it obviously depends a little bit where the cost comes to, but for these top 5, one of the top 5 guys, maybe wait till like 2 of them have come off the board and then target one. So that way people have tried bidding on one of the other, like the top 2, and then you get the third off, would be my kind of thought there. Just to save a little bit of money. Wide receiver 1? Yeah, I definitely want, yeah, the wide receivers after like the top 10, after this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I almost 12-ish. I mean, they start to fall off pretty quickly, especially now that Rice is not part of there anymore. So I'm happy to spend on 2 of those if I can through the quarterback thing too, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I have no problem with that, and you can definitely get some running backs for cheap. So you can put together a good roster, spending up at a few spots, and then spending cheap. But I think you always also have to adapt as the auction goes along, and I don't think you want to stick to one strategy too quickly. Yeah, I have no problem taking a chance on Brenton Strange. They did add, another wide receiver target in there. So that takes away a little bit. How did we end up there? Metro went Higgins, Williams, that running back room. The running backs are always nice there. I think Zay Flowers should be a fine wide receiver too, so I think he just kind of barely fit in there. And then I have my concerns about, I don't think Tyler Warren will be a game changer. I don't think he has a chance of being a game changer. But he definitely has a chance of being fine. Tight end 8, there's a definite chance for that type of stuff. And then you got Brenton Strange as a flyer there as well to add on top of that. My roster... Hopefully Jack Bech just saved that wide receiver room if things get hairy. If DK Metcalf's not what we wanted, if Chris Olave gets injured. And then Juwan Jennings is my wide receiver 3 suddenly or something. Hopefully Jack Bech can come in there and be a good wide receiver 2 or 3 by the midpoint of the season, maybe. They call him, he's gone. Crabcats, Jefferson, Rashai Rice. Oof. I think you took too much risk at wide receiver personally for me, but definite upside. Achan Walker, Quinshawn, Charbonnet with the Walker there. Quinshawn could be nothing for a while, but he could come back. Yeah, I just think too much risk with. I'm trying to get to the point with not enough upside at the back end. So I'd say if you wanted to go more risk, like I don't see incredible upside with Debo or Keon Coleman possible. I would have rathered Trey Harris and Emeka Buka even though I'm not or Matthew Golden if he would have made it a little bit longer. Darnell Mooney, Josh Downs, even Higgins. You couldn't have gotten there. Yeah, I think just a little too much risk overall. Artie's nuts. Running backs, strongest. Yeah, good running back room. Ladd, Hill with upside, Xavier, Diggs, Emeka. I don't love it. I think there is, a potential sliver of hope for Emeka Buka. There is, I get some of it. I don't love it. And then you got Hurts, Brady, Andrews. So obviously some upside with Andrews quite potentially. This was full PPR, so that's why I didn't sniff him too hard. But obviously he should pay off at that point in the draft. There's a little doubt about that. So, good roster. Running backs never going to be an issue for you there. That's for sure. And then I think that wide receiver 3 is going to be a struggle. But Xavier Worthy just might save you. Rashee Rice misses a few weeks. Xavier Worthy early season could get help. Save that wide receiver 3 spot very nicely. That is possible. Chase Brown, McMillan, Dunze, McMillan, Kirk. Interesting. Not all like my guys once again, but I see the vision. Jacobs, Hampton, Pacheco, Caleb once again. I mean, I think a really strong running back room. Spears could be something. I think you'll probably end up kicking him to the curb more than likely, but it depends how the season goes. And then Daniel's nice. Didn't need Murray. You would have grabbed something else. Njoku, the definite chance there of getting a top 6, 7 tight end, which is right on that borderline of actually mattering. So, nice. I loved where this roster was heading. I feel like it just faltered a little bit in my personal opinion here at the end. Look at that, Robbie D, member for 10 months. What a man. Who do you think would be the best fantasy asset on the Bears at a skill position? That's such a good question. Value-wise, it might be DeAndre Swift. Thanks, Robbie. I just got it. Your dollars, like yesterday, I think. I got a payment. To me, it's hard to argue against DJ Moore. I just think he's the most talented, most proven of the skill position players on that team. But I do think there's a chance that you are a little bit disappointed with what you get from DJ Moore, whereas with DeAndre Swift, I think there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get value for where you're getting him. Rome Odunze is just a flyer that I talked about. Like I really struggle with the Chicago guys overall. Like wanting to draft those receivers, and I do have hope for that offensive situation and the quarterback situation being much better than last year. So it's just an enigma, a question mark for me there. That's a really good question. I would go DJ Moore to answer it fully. Maybe Swift and Moore. None. Oh, Kyle Williams, Metro. Oh, that was Kyle Williams? He doesn't have a picture on here. Neither does Jack Besh. Okay. I was thinking of like early. I was trying to think of a name from, I feel like early Tom Brady. There might have been a K. Williams, maybe even cornerback, though, in New England that I was trying to think of. Kyle Williams is an underrated depth piece, though. I don't know if he's going to be the two. If he's going to be the two, then he's obviously like probably a really good value, and there is that opportunity. I'm not saying there's not the opportunity, but I don't know that he beats out. Well, I think his best spot is in the slot, Demario Douglas. So I just don't know that he beats that out. I think Demario Douglas is good enough that he'll probably hold off Kyle Williams. I wasn't as high up on Kyle Williams. There were some things in his skill set to really like a lot, but like there were a few people who thought he was like a first rounder. I wasn't like that. Blunder on Murray set you back. What would it have been? So if it's not Murray, what do you think you take there? Mooney? Or Charbonnet? Mooney? Probably a wide receiver, right? Definitely a wide receiver. So then you would have gotten a quarterback back here. Yeah, so I would have liked it better if you swapped out Murray for Drake May instead of McMillan. And then, yeah, like Mooney, Downs, Higgins, Trey Harris, even Pittman. I would have liked, Pittman more than McMillan. Mooney or Downs? Yeah. Yes, I would have liked that. Probably would have been my favorite roster. Would I like it more than mine? Yeah, I don't know. Probably would have been my favorite roster, at least outside of mine. Maybe over mine. If I really were to sit here and look at them and study them forever. Just wanted to take them out of pride. Are you a Kyler Murray fan? Judy or Olave? Well, Mr. Magic, you're asking the wrong person. Chat, Judy or Olave, what do you think? Olave's the living IR spot. If I can put him in my IR, I'm not too upset about it. In the 5th, 6th round, whatever. I mean, other guys will get injured too. I mean, Xavier Worthy's probably a walking IR spot. Just wait for that. Wait till people start laying him out a little more. Olave the better receiver. Yep. Downs? Was that the question? Wasn't Downs over Mooney? Oh, Downs Mooney. Sorry. Jerry Judy Olave, Downs Mooney. Too many Oodies. Oodie booty. Oodie booty everywhere. Floor play Olave, ceiling upside Judy. You think there's a ceiling in that Cleveland offense though? I know it's I guess, I guess it's comparing to the New Orleans offense. But I feel like New Orleans defense is worse than Cleveland's probably. So like there is more of a ceiling in terms of passing need opportunity. Probably not drafting Olave or Judy. Yeah. And fair enough. Downs over Mooney. Yeah, Mooney was good last year. And Downs has more competition for his targets due to Tyler Warren. They work the same area of the field, so that just concerns me. But Downs is one of my dudes. I'm looking at my wide receiver rankings here. I have Downs 41st, Mooney's 48th. But part of that's also I think you can just get Mooney later, so that helps. Same range. I actually do have a tier difference. I do have down still a tier ahead, but I do think same range. 7 spots difference, you know. If Olave stays healthy, he's probably going to get hurt. Mooney can break. I assume Mooney. He can break off 80 yards anytime he touches the ball. He's just so explosive, and his footwork is next level. Oh wait, I don't know who you talking about there, Steve. And Mooney's the number 2 receiver in Atlanta again, and you know it's the same offensive scheme and everything. There's a lot to like about him. Judy, I got you. Oh yeah, for the footwork. Addison Waddle as well. Yeah, I think Addison's going to miss some time, so I moved him down my rankings from a suspension, I assume, incoming. And then Waddle's one of those disappointments from last year. Lamb was disappointing. Don't want him. Yeah, I would think there's definitely an opportunity for Waddle and everything. I don't know. You know, he's what? Is he entering year 4? He seems to always be a little bit banged up, too. He waddles to some extent. One of those guys. I don't know. He was really good for me his rookie season when I drafted him. I think that was his rookie season. Addison stayed away from same. Yeah, I'd rather Juwan Jennings over, I think, every name there. Not Olave. Who was the question to Olave? Olave Judy? Yeah, I think I have Olave Jennings out of all the names that we said there. Addison I had a little bit higher, but not as much anymore. Waddle Jenner is a good wide receiver. I do agree with that. Just really disappointed from last year. Had my hopes up. He let me down. I'm not feeling good about it. So maybe I'm a little crossed on him. All right, we're at the almost at the 2-hour point. So let's keep it under 2 hours, right? Yeah. Any other questions, comparisons? By the way, guys, my bad on last week Thursday night. I got distracted. Something came up, and then I might have been able to do a stream, but I forgot until like noon the next day. I was like, oh, I was supposed to do a stream last night. Dylan Sampson. If he has most of the starter reps during camp, if that comes true, which I don't think that's what's going to happen, but if we see, if the reports are coming, I think he's probably more talented than Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford is kind of like a bad Chuba Hubbard to me, and I don't hold Chuba Hubbard in great, I just think they're average to almost below average in a good way running backs, as in like they're still like starting running backs around the league. Sure, they can do that, but like I'd rather have somebody else. So I say Chuba's on the low end of average, and then there's Jerome Ford, who I think is below average. I'm pulling up my running back rankings. If it's looking like Dylan Sampson's going to get that running back role, but Quinshon Judkins still might at least come back week 6, that holds it, holds that back a little bit. Let's see. I think I'm pretty close to ADP with Travion Henderson at 28 and Etienne Pacheco in the 30s there. So let's start there. Dylan Sampson over Henderson at that point. Probably not. Sampson over Etienne. I think that's where it starts. Around Etienne, Pacheco was probably safer, but I have Pacheco behind Etienne. I need change that somehow, some way. Ramondre Stevenson and him. I really feel like Ramondre Stevenson's like a good comp in terms of where you would think of Dylan Sampson, because Ramondre Stevenson's a guy who might have the starting role for like 6 weeks, and then he might take a seat back to Trevion Henderson. I also think there's a very good chance that he might be the starting running back all season long, and Trevion, that's a 1A, 1B situation, in which case Trevion Henderson probably outproduces him, which is pretty much what I'm predicting. I have Trevion Henderson just like 3 spots ahead of Ramondre. I'm higher up on Ramondre than ADP. Not because I'm like super high up on him, just because like beating the starting running back on a team's an opportunity. Yeah, that's where I would put roughly Dylan Sampson there, around ADP 30, or around running back 30, I should say, not ADP 30. Don't do that. All right, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Should be back this Thursday, 8:30 p.m. And that's it. Peace on out. Have a good night. I'll see ya. Bye-bye. Ending it.